The Event Horizon. Now, this is a 90s film, so we're straying away from the 80s this week to a Paul W. Anderson film, 18 Certificate Horror, Event Horizon. That's probably one of the only few films that opens with a text at the beginning that I really enjoyed, apart from Judge Dredd 1995, but we'll get to that in another review. And it really sets the scene up. I mean, it starts off 2040, the event horizon has been missing, and it just disappears without a trace beyond the eighth planet Neptune. It's the worst recorded disaster ever in human history. What a way to start a film. You're hooked straight away by just 8 lines of text on the TV. Now, the great thing about Event Horizon is Paul Anderson's not known for his horror films. He's known for his, let's just say, Resident Evil franchise that spawned 6 sequels that weren't very good. Now, I'm looking at Event Horizon as another horror film, as we did last week, Terminator. Event Horizon is a horror film. It's an 18 certificate. It is bloody. It is gory. It is damn right scary. Now, when you look at a film like Event Horizon, for me, it's got a really big cult following. There is no other films out there like it. Event Horizon is a spaceship that basically went to hell and came back again. And there's a rescue team that's sent out to find out why. Now, they don't know it's been to hell and back yet, but they know that the Event Horizon was a famous ship that was sent out beyond our solar system, beyond the eighth planet Neptune. I know, obviously, Neptune's not a planet now, but when the film was made in 1995, it was classed as a planet. Now, the ship goes past our known orbit and disappears without a trace and becomes famous for it. It's probably the only, as I said in the tagline, the biggest record disaster known. Now, it appears out of the blue, out of nowhere, and straight away you're hooked. You're looking around the room and you're trying to think, what is going on? And what I mean by that is when you get on that ship, you're looking at every point of the screen. You're looking around the room to figure out where this ship has been. You know, it's been to hell and back. Now, we don't know this, but they allude to it as the plot unfolds. And again, without giving too much away, because in my reviews, I don't want to spoil the overall film or the overall arcing of the film. But again, probably in my top 20 of all time. Now, the premise is the engineer, the guy that built the Event Horizon, takes a small crew of space rangers, astroneers, marines, however you want to call them, officers, to the Event Horizon. So they get on their ship, it goes to the Event Horizon, and the Doctor explains where the Event Horizon went, or where it was supposed to go, and how it works. A little bit sciencey, but not too confusing. Straight away you're intrigued, you're piqued, you're like, what are they going to find? What came back? Now, as you get the film going and you're watching it, it's about an hour and a half long, around 33 minutes or something like that. There's some cheap scares, and for whatever reason, when the film came out, it didn't do really well. I can't remember the takings of the film, but it didn't do well at all. But the DVD release has had a cult following like you wouldn't believe, and still holds up to today. And again, a lot of these films that I'm reviewing, and I'll continue to review, the reason why they're on my top 20 is because it's not the story that resonates. You know, the stories sometimes can be a bit throwaway. It can be a bit, silly, unbelievable, far-fetched. But that's what you want. You want escapism when you're watching a film. But the thing about the films that I like, especially Event Horizon, it still holds up to today. And there's an odd bit of CGI in there that does take you out of the experience because of the time. But the rest of the film is second to none. The story is really interesting. the ship and what it's been through, and what happens when it comes back is insane. And the gore is it's not over the top, but there's enough in there for it to receive an 18 certificate rating, to have an 18 certificate, which I think is an R rating, or yeah, an R rating in America. But the story itself is just immense. I mean, looking back at all the space adventures over the last 30, 40 years, you've got Prometheus, you've got the Aliens films, uh, Paul Van Hoven's Starship Troopers. That's about it, really. There's been some direct to DVD or direct to video. There's been some TV series. There's been a few films about space, but not about horror. I'm not about cosmic horror because that's a little bit different, but just pure horror in space. I mean, it really gave me Dead Space vibes in the respect that there was no religion or alien artifact, but it came back and they were so isolated on this ship. They need to investigate what happened. You know, they came back, or the ship comes back with no crew, and they're trying to figure out where the hell did they go, or where they ended up. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of story. So they land. Sam Neill, who plays the doctor or the guy that the engineer, Lawrence Fishburne, fantastic actor again, who leads the crew, with Sean Pertwee, and there is a few others. I do forget their names. Not as successful or as famous. And they get on this ship, and they're there, and things start to go awry. Things start to get really creepy. Things start to happen to the crew members, and it's not them typical tropes that you find from other horror films. It's literally one by one they get sucked into the mise en scène, the resonance of the ship. The things start happening that we just quite not right about the ship. There's something spooky going on, and it's very foreboding, very worrying, and there's no crew. And it's not like they're like missing legs and arms and all that, even though there's a few jump scares where a floating arm hits someone in the face or in the back, I can't remember. But it's really foreboding, really scary. The gore and the special effects are done really well, and the story's done really well. So again, without giving away too many spoilers, that Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne, they go to this ship with their crew. They try to figure out what's happened. Some things happen. Their ship gets damaged, and they need to repair it. And while that's being repaired, they explore the event horizon, and chaos ensues, and people die, as you'd expect, violently. It's a great scene where a guy goes out in an airlock into space, and I'll leave that there. And some of the scares or the jump scares, and some of the stuff not shown. There's a bit in the film where they look at this monitor in the bridge. They're trying to find out the video feed of the crew before they disappeared, or before they ventured past the solar system. And there's these flashes of images of people being tortured, and not so much is shown, as more flashes than there is anything else. And it's that fear of the unknown. What happened? What the hell did I just see? Really resonates, really shows a real foreboding and scary atmosphere to it. And again, one of Paul Anderson's best films he's done, probably to date, really. And it's got a really good cast, really good acting, really good storyline. And it still holds up to today. Like I said, there's a few bits of CGI in there that are quite wonky, and they don't really sit well with a viewing. It does take you out of the experience for a few seconds, but it's not a lot of CGI, to be honest. But this unknown, not knowing what's coming, not knowing really what's happened, and still trying to figure out what's going on. They play really well on people's memories and past. Some of the crew members have got like problems themselves, like their own personal demons, and the ship really tries to capture that spirit and scare them into submission or into death, as I would say. And again, without spoiling too much, go and watch the film. It's definitely worth your time. Greatly directed, good soundtrack, good set design, great story, and a film that will probably linger with you afterwards. And again, done in 1995, and it still holds up to today. It still holds up to today as a real original story. Um, and again, with my reviews, I'm going to start a rating for every one of my reviews now, because I've kind of done it with all the ones I've had over the last few weeks. And this one gets a 9 out of 10 for me. Now, I know it sounds a bit biased, as I'm giving a lot of films 9 out of 10, especially the last two I did. But again, I'm going to get onto films eventually that I don't know what they're about, and it'll be kind of a reaction. These are films that have been out for decades, tens of years, 20s of years. Some of them have nearly been 30, 40 years old, and they're classics. You know, doesn't matter what way you go about it. These are classic films, and if you stuck them all on a wall, they would stay there. You know, they wouldn't be coming down. They wouldn't be coming off your collection. They would be staying there. Event Horizon, absolutely one of my favourite horror films of all time. Probably in my top 5, to be honest, because the story's so original. Doesn't play on any tropes. There's a few jump scares that are not expected, but with the cast, the direction, the music, um, yeah, really worth your time. Giving it a 9 out of 10. Again, only reason why is because even though it's aged well, CGI hasn't. But again, direction's second to none. Story's really well done. And like I said, I don't want to give too much away, because it's one of them horror films you want to watch, and you want to keep going on this journey and finding out more and more and more. And again, it's not like the other films that I've spoken about in the past that have like an ongoing IP. It's more of a standalone film. Once it's done, it's done. There's no sequels afterwards, but it's a really good standalone film. And I again, don't think this one's coming out of my collection. I am going to do a top 10 horror films, top 10 sci-fi films eventually. But just to let you know, this will be in my top 10 horror film. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please comment, please subscribe, please like the video. Again, I do want to just add here for the moment that I am trying to build myself a following. I am trying to build myself subscribers. It's really going to help my channel. And hopefully when I can monetize the channel, I can buy equipment to make sure that the lighting, the video content, the editing, my intro, everything that I want to do for the channel and for the quality of these videos, one, I can spend more time doing them. Two, I can actually do them with a bit more panache, and they become more popular. And three, they are the quality that I want to deliver. At the moment, I'm only delivering it on a mobile phone. So if you could please subscribe and support and share and like. If you need to dislike, you know, it'd be nice to know why you dislike the video. But any comments you can give me, any improvements you can share. And again, if you've got top tips on what you would like to see me cover through the video, because I'm trying to do this off my back, in regards to, I'm trying to think about, you know, I'm not editing this. This is all live footage. This is a constant take. I'm not cutting anywhere. If I've made a mistake, I start the video all again, which is quite time consuming. I've got no editing software, and I'm trying to do this as best I can on what I've got, kind of thing. So hopefully you can, like I said, support the channel and help me out. As always, stay safe, have fun, and try not to game alone.